So often I think about how to show up as my true, authentic self. And what I recognize is very early on in my career, I really struggled with this idea of showing those that I worked with more of who I was, where I was from, what I was about, because I thought that the workplace especially was all about focusing on the work and not bringing any of me to the workplace. But I also recognized that by doing that, I was constantly and forever wearing this mask. And so for me, I really started to recognize over time, probably within the first few years of my career, but especially after graduate school, that it was important for me to figure out what I was going to bring to bear and how I could start to live more authentically. And the key to that was accepting that I had to be vulnerable. Vulnerability was the key to my success in truly sharing more of myself. It allowed me to be less focused on how I was being received, perceived, etc. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wasn't walking around being disrespectful or nonchalant or anything to that effect, but it allowed me to really focus on the work. It allowed me to focus on the what. Yes, I still had to be considerate of the how and how I was engaging with people, but I could engage as Etowah and be empathetic and be thoughtful and be curious and be intentional as well. And so it allowed me to be more of myself, but ultimately allowed for me to spend less time, less energy, less mind space, energetic space on overthinking all of these things. The other thing that I recognize, especially as I moved into more managerial and leadership roles, is vulnerability actually allowed me to connect with people so much more deeply. And it allowed me to be more effective in motivating them and actually supporting them. When I shared a little bit of myself or a little more of myself with folks, it was easier to actually get them to come on that journey with me. It was easier for me to put myself in their shoes, for me to be a better manager, to be a better coach, and ultimately a better leader. People want to feel connected. People want to feel passion. They want to feel engaged and excited. And it's very difficult to do that if you spend all of your time keeping yourself from people. So I think vulnerability, embracing it, has been a major key to my own personal success because it allowed me to connect authentically. It meant that parts of my story that make me who I am, that help me recognize like how I think about things, how I approach problems. I tell people all the time, I'm a recovering auditor and I have an engineer's mind. I like to break down problems. I like to go deep and ask lots of questions. My curiosity is my biggest gift. And it allows me to connect dots and see things in a much more authentic way. But I have to also like share with people, where does that come from? Why am I that way? And by them understanding who I am, why I kind of tick the way that I tick, they're much more receptive to how I show up, how I lead, how I engage, how I partner. And also we get to have much more authentic connections and relationships. And so I find it as a huge accelerant in being able to deliver and the path to impact, but ultimately has been a major key to my success. What it looks like to embrace vulnerability in professional settings is really seeking to define what it is you want to share. I harp so much on the importance of setting boundaries and protecting your energy. So you do have to decide, what about me do I want to share? What am I prepared to share? What am I comfortable making sure that people know and understand about me? So it's really about first like naming the thing. Name the thing that is you, that's about you. Not everybody has access to you and not everybody should have access to every piece of information about you. But once you can name the thing that makes you you, then you can decide and define how you want to bring that forward. How do you want to share that with other people? And it might be one-on-one. You might get to a point where you're so comfortable, you're happy to tell your story on a panel or at the front of the room in a big all hands, or maybe in a newsletter, right? Because you might get asked to do that. But you need to first name the things you are willing to share and how you want to do that, and also recognize how doing that might help people better understand you, work with you, support you, and so on. And then go ahead and do that, right? Actually make those choices, take those actions, and you can make a decision on how you do that. Again, you could do it privately, you can do it a little bit more publicly, but this is how you actually embrace it in the workspace. I really find that connecting with people, being honest and authentic and really vulnerable with them about, things that I'm enduring or things that I'm experiencing, allows for them to really, buy in a little bit more, because there's a human to human connection. There's a recognition that this person that's working with them, that's supporting them, or that's, asking for something is also a person. And it just allows for a much easier ebb and flow of that relationship. The last thing that I'll say is, the sharing of self should not be motivated purely transactionally. And so I don't want you to take this as some sort of advice of like, share a bit of yourself so you get something in exchange. You're making the decision to do it because it's best for you. So once you decide what you want to share and why you want to share it and so on, do so again on your terms, in your way, so that it makes you feel good, but it enables and helps to unlock your impact in these particular settings. And don't feel the pressure to share everything about yourself with everyone, because not everyone has that right. So make sure you pick and choose, protect your energy, and set some boundaries if necessary. So as I mentioned, if you want to start to feel comfortable, a lot of people, like I said, it took me some time to recognize that there was power in being a bit more vulnerable in the workplace, again, on my terms. But if you're struggling with, that decision or how to get started or where to get started, I think the very first step is to name the things that make you you. And once you've named those things that make you you, decide which of those things are important for other people to understand, so that your partnership with them, your working with them, your managing of them, or you're being managed by them can best move forward in a way that, again, supports and enables you to be your very best self. So you're going to name what makes you you, and then you're going to decide what to share to support you in achieving your impact, in achieving your goals, and moving yourself and the organization forward. Thanks so much for joining the conversation. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. See you soon.